Hey guys, it's Alex, and today I'm here with a book review for Ribbons by Laurence Yep. This is a middle grade contemporary novel about a Chinese American girl who loves ballet. When she's 11, her parents bring her Chinese grandmother over from Hong Kong, and because of the money spent on this, they can no longer afford to send Robin to ballet classes. I gave this book 5 stars. This is one of my childhood favorites, and I've honestly read this book so many times. It's just one of those wonderful books that always touches me emotionally whenever I pick it up. It's also one that always makes me cry. It's not a particularly sad book. Nothing really tragic happens in this. As a kid, I just connected so much with Robin and Robin's story and how much she loved ballet and wanted to keep doing it. Not that I did ballet, but as a kid, I think it's easy to relate to that kind of passion for something. Her love for it is such a visceral thing within this book, and it was something that I really felt and I really related to. I think it's something that really comes through the pages so strongly. Through her love of ballet, you really get a sense of who Robin is and how she perceives the world. Ballet isn't just something she kind of does for fun on the side. It's a part of who she is as a person, even though she is still a young child. What this book does really well, and what it honestly kind of focuses on, is culture and the cultural differences. Robin does experience some cultural difference from her friends who aren't from immigrant families. But in large part, she clashes culturally a lot with her grandmother, who has lived in Hong Kong her whole life, who is just now coming to America and is struggling to adjust herself. Robin works really hard to come to terms with how her situation has changed. She goes from being an 11-year-old who does ballet and has her own bedroom to sleeping in the same bedroom with her 5-year-old brother, to quitting ballet and missing out that time with her friends, to having this grandmother who seems to have different priorities and different preferences, who she doesn't understand. And I think it's so well written, all the different cultures that Laurence Yep captures. He is a Chinese American himself, so I do think a lot of this is him reflecting on the experiences he had as a child that were different from perhaps those of his American friends. Robin can be, and is honestly pretty bratty in this book, but it's one of those books where I do feel it's justified. She's an 11-year-old kid. Her life has turned upside down. In her opinion, it has gotten kind of worse. She's now sleeping on a mattress in her little brother's room instead of having a bed in her own room. She's had to quit ballet. She misses her friends. She misses dancing. She has to deal with this grandmother who she doesn't understand. And I feel like it's kind of justified in her being a brat. It's not the most enjoyable thing for everyone around her, and it's not that I think her being a brat accomplishes anything, but it's one of those books where I'm okay with it because it makes sense for her character, and it doesn't make her seem like a worse person. She's just a kid in a tough situation who's dealing with it. I do think one of the only flaws in this book that I personally noticed is that it does resolve very quickly, but this is like a 180-page middle grade book, so I feel like that's to be expected, and it's not something that ever really bothered me as a kid, and it didn't really bother me as an adult either. It was just something that I did notice. It is kind of quick once it comes to like, everyone's problems are solved now, but it's also lovely to read for that because it is nice when things suddenly start going well again. I do think it's hard to talk about this book and review it just because of how much I love it. It's easier to sit here and nitpick all the things I didn't like about a book that I didn't think was very good because I noticed those things. Whereas in a book I really love, it's just about the story and the characters, and I'm so absorbed that I don't really notice any of the technical things. And I think that's one of the highest compliments that I can give a book is that it was just so good that I sat down and read it and didn't think about anything else. It's just a wonderful story. If you like middle grade contemporary, if you like books that are kind of heartwarming and about cultural differences, I highly, highly recommend this book. Laurence Yep is fairly well known, or at least he was in like the 90s because this is an older book, for his middle grade and children's novels that focus on Asian American culture. And I haven't read any of those, but honestly, as an adult, after reading this one, I do want to check out some of his other work because this book is so incredibly wonderful. Let me know down below if you've read Ribbons and what you thought of it if you have. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see y'all again soon.